Hello, everyone. Welcome back. MTL Sports here, episode 136. All right, we got another jam-packed episode, another holiday week. So, of course, we're gonna try to squeeze everything into one episode. Um, New Year's is Wednesday, so we know we could be celebrating all that good stuff. There's also a lot to celebrate and unpack after this weekend. You got Week 17 just about done. We got Lions, 49ers playing a little bit here, but no need to go over that. 49ers season is pretty much done. So we got to recap the rest of the some big games happen Saturday and Sunday. And then we got next week to preview Week 18, last week of the NFL season. A lot of playoff implications, seedings, and see who gets in, who gets out. Still in the line, and then of course college football playoffs round 2. Got some action going on tomorrow and Wednesday, New Year's Day. So of course we got to cover that as well. So, with all that being said, guys, stay tuned. This is true. All right, y'all. Welcome back. We're talking about the Knicks and Wiz playing right now. Jalen Brunson, a little side note, Jalen Brunson scored 50 on Saturday. Lawrence got some good odds on the live bet. I think that bet cashed for you, didn't it, Lawrence?
It did. I just knew halfway through the first half when it was 6.5 for the Knicks. I was like, they're gonna come back and they're gonna wipe the Wizards away, and that's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Good old Wiz. They are selling and they're about to be dealing because there's been some trades. We got one trade that happened yesterday. I think it was yesterday, so we'll probably squeeze that in as well. So NBA action. But first, we got Week 17 to go over, guys. Let's get into this. There was a Thursday night game after Christmas, and I guess we should go over the Christmas games because technically those were the first games on the Week 17 slate. Chiefs, Steelers. Honestly, Lawrence, I didn't even watch this one. This was terrible. This I was listening to it on the radio as I was driving. This was terrible. I don't know if you caught any of this game, but
I
if
mean,
you want to say
I
anything.
watched the first half, and it was in fact a terrible game. But and we'll breeze through these two because the next game was also said terrible as well. But it just looked like, in my opinion, it looks like Russell Wilson doesn't really belong here anymore. Like starting, he just looked completely off, and almost it felt like anything he did was just slowed. Like he just, I don't know. I just got that vibe. Like he did not seem like himself. It didn't look like he was locked in like at all. That was just my take on it. And I just remember saying halfway through the game multiple times, they got to bench him. Like he looks bad.
Yeah, I don't know, Wes. I mean, the Steelers have obviously regressed the past couple games. They just haven't looked like they were looking in the beginning of the season. You can even go back to when he first started the first couple games. The team looked completely different. I feel like this is like a theme. We could say the past couple years, like the Steelers start off hot, like, oh, okay, Steelers, they haven't fallen off, even though we keep writing them off to fall off. And then late in the season, they've been, prone to regress. So I don't know. I think it's just a theme that's happened past couple years. I don't know if you feel the same way.
I feel about that with the Steelers for a long period of time now. I think that's like I don't want to say it's like the Mike Palmer effect, but that's why all the fans are kind of up in arms over a coach who consistently wins. It's like, yeah, he constantly gets us to this point, but then we always stay in this lull period because, well, one, our team just fundamentally isn't that good, but then it plays lights out for a little bit of time, and then we get no draft pick.
Yeah, that's not a spot you want to be in, especially in NFL or NBA. You don't want to be, in the middle of the pack. You either want to be bad or you want to be good. Being in the middle is not where you want to be. So, then the second game, I did watch. I watched like a half of this. and mostly that was just to get to the Beyonce halftime performance, which was pretty good. But other than that, the Texans they look like a shell themselves. Any thoughts?
This was on in the background, but we were playing board games and stuff, and I didn't. I just looked over and once in a while and saw something new.
Yeah, I mean honestly, you didn't miss much. Second half, it got honestly out of control. So we were playing board games and stuff this too. So I mean, I have nothing else to say. I said it last week. Ravens secondary could be taken advantage of, but Houston's offensive line is decimated. They can't run the ball. CJ Stroud's running for his life. This is exactly the result that I expected. Thursday night, 6-3. I got nothing to say. This was just a bad game. I
So
got nothing to say.
so here's what makes me really upset is I bet on Kansas State to beat Rutgers in the bowl game that was going on at the exact same time as this,
Yep.
and Kansas State went down. And I think they were down. I think the last time I remember looking at it, I was like, "This is over." It was 41-29, and I was like, "Yeah, it's halfway through the fourth. This is over." They turn out to win this game. I didn't see any of it, and I was watching this skate fest for almost that whole time because I was like, "Oh, at any point in time, one of these guys is just gonna take one to the house, and we have ourselves a interesting, fun game." Never happened. Just never happened at all.
Just terrible, terrible, terrible. I mean, you can say Charles Barkley voice terrible. I mean, it was just ridiculous, bro. I mean, I get it. It's cold rain, and I didn't like playing in the cold rain. It's worse than playing in snow and ice, which I only did once. But at this point, you professionals, you got to put on a better performance than this for the fans. I mean, this is just
Yeah, but
pathetic.
I still don't understand how. Like I know he's mad. Um, the CEO for Amazon, Bezos. Like he's
Yeah,
paying all that money to have something stream on his programming, and he's getting shit games. And we've seen for weeks now that they're going to be a shit game. Like this is not going to be a good game. The one team has zero to play for, and the other team is just crawling along trying to make it to the end. What was the difference between the two of them? It's like there was other games that you could have flexed in there that would have been a little bit more exciting.
yeah. They just announced this year that they were going to start flexing Thursday night games, but I don't think they did any of that this year.
Nope.
Yeah, I think they gotta take a serious look at that next year and see if they can do that. All right, on a Saturday, and then we got some better games on Saturday. Starting with I think the first game was Chargers Patriots, right?
Yeah, you didn't
Drake
call
May
that
got
a
hurt.
better game.
Drake May got hurt early, so I think that leads to the blowout. I think Drake May stays in. Is Patriots score more than 7 points. I'll just say that. I don't think it's gonna be close, but it'll be maybe a little bit more entertaining. I don't know if you got any
Uh,
thoughts.
I,
Jacoby
I,
set.
I didn't watch any of this game. I was never gonna watch any of this game. Once I
Hmm.
saw who was playing in it. Um, I did watch the Bengals game, so when you're ready to move on to that one, I'll get to that. And the Rams Cardinals game, like again, like I
No
don't know if I
snooze
was just a
fest.
little bit burnt out on football from. Okay, guys, I will admit I hit an amazing parlay the day before, and I may have been a little burnt out on a little bit of football. So
Yeah, hey, started sweating them bets. You got a little burnt out, but it was all worth it. I think the second game was the Bengals Broncos. Of course, Bengals needed to win to save their playoff lives, and they still got a chance this week. They get beat the Steelers, and we'll
so
get to that a little bit later.
I know
Um,
what we saw happen in this game and everything, but like a quick side note, like what are your going into this weekend? What are your thoughts and odds that's the Bengals secure a spot?
uh, It's probably less than 5% because I don't think the Chiefs. Well, Andy Reid came out today and said he doesn't know what his game plan is going into week 18. He hasn't talked to the team about if he's going to rest anybody. I don't believe that at all. I think at the very least they'll rest Mahomes, um, and then probably maybe Chris Jones. But I feel like they need some of their starters to keep playing. I don't think you go out there and you let everyone rest. That's a starter. I feel like that's. I feel like that's bad mojo because then you got another week off, and then you come back the middle of January. You haven't played a game in like 3 weeks. I feel like that's bad mojo. I feel like it'd be too rusty unless you're actually like hurt as Mahomes is or he claims to be. So um, it's less than 5%. I think the Broncos will win just because Chiefs B team, um, and the Chiefs don't want to face the Bengals. But it honestly comes down to the Jets Dolphins. I don't think the Dolphins are going to lose to the Jets now. Huntley, I think, is trending to play again. So we'll have to see. I don't even know if the Jets are if it's at Jets or at Miami. If it's at Jets, the Jets have a chance. But if it's in Miami, they probably win. And that's all we need because the Colts lost to the Giants, which I didn't think was going to happen. So we just need those two, Lawrence. We just need those two things to happen. I think we beat the Steelers. Steelers got nothing to play for because I think the Ravens, they flex Ravens Browns to the first game on Saturday. So after the Ravens demolish the Browns, they can't move up or down in the playoff seeding. So I think they'll probably rest their starters too.
Those guys probably need a week of rest because they got some things to figure out.
Yeah, so we're just banking on Chiefs beating the Broncos and Jets beating the Dolphins.
Fair.
Back to this game though. This was a good game. I think honestly it was a lot closer than it needed to be. I feel like the Bengals made some lapses, two lapses. Most importantly to Marvin Mims getting behind the defense. Um, if the safeties just do their job, that's two scores erased, and then the game's not even this close. Doesn't have to go to overtime. So the defense, even though they played better overall, Lawrence, they still make these dumb mistakes. Um, Mainly Geno Stone. Geno Stone is not a good safety. I don't know why in the hell he's still out there starting. They should let another young guy go out there and see what they got, or just get a guy off the street because he's just not been playing well. Jordan Battle has, so I'm glad he's been getting some starting time. But uh, offensively, yeah, we did pretty much anything we wanted against the Broncos defense. I think they're top 5 defense, and we had our way. So that was pretty good. Joey didn't make any mistakes, so there was no. I didn't hear anything from any national media guys about Joe Burrow's fault or yada yada yada, all that BS talk from the people in the media that always want to shit on Joe. Um, it's not his fault, but um, it was a great game, Lawrence. I want to hear your thoughts. I know you watched it.
Honestly, it's just amazing that the Bengals defense they gave us like at least what was it about 3 weeks, 2 weeks of like, oh man, this team is good. The defense can not collapse in a game, and like the Bengals they got a chance to really go for this thing, and they crash back down to earth. And the sheer amount of points the Bengals have to just score, and just the small amount of the little things that just go wrong constantly, like the blinking of the field goal. Like and if you're the Broncos, you had to know they're not kicking another field goal. That guy just blinked it. No, he's done though. Deactivated. Immediately pulled that man, and let Joe Burrow take care of it.
And he
Also,
did.
they
He
they
did.
did score early though. They did score really early. That was very questionable. I know you want the points on the board, but we also know that your defense can't stop them, and they proved that again.
Yeah, so like I said, this is they've been playing better, but they still collapse, they still fold, they still sold at the end. There's a questionable catch, but hey, it is what it is. You can't, like I said, like we've been saying, you can't beat the zebras. One person you can't beat in the NFL is the zebras. So it is what it is. It goes overtime. Joe has to do 3 game-winning drives essentially in this game just to get it done. I got nothing else to say about Joe. At the very least, if Joe's not MVP, this man should be Offensive Player of the Year. Sorry, Jamar, you're gonna win Triple Crown, but to me, Offensive Player of the Year is between him and Saquon. If Joe throws for 5,000 yards, I think equally as impressive as if Saquon breaks this record, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, they played well. Like I said, they got whatever they wanted on offense. Defense held their own in most of the drives, but then the little lapses here and there. Um, so we'll see. We'll see. Last game, Rams, Rams and Cardinals. I thought for sure this was going over because the Rams defense is terrible. They're almost as bad as ours. And the Cardinals, I know they had nothing to play for, but I thought at the very least they would want to ruin the Rams' chances of winning the division and then probably playing for that wild card spot. But didn't turn out that way, Lawrence. Any thoughts?
Mm, I didn't watch any of it. Just never watched any of it.
Yeah, this is a snooze fest. Puka played well. Cooper Cup, I honestly I didn't even know he was playing. He says he has one catch, but you couldn't really tell he was playing. Kyron Williams ran the ball okay. It was just a defensive game. I think this was in LA too, so it's not like weather was a factor. It was just a bad game. I don't even know why it was giving that vibes, but this was easily a game that should have been like 30, 33, 30 or something like that, but for whatever reason, both teams' defenses wanted to show out for each other. So I don't know. It is what it is. This was last leg on two of my parlays, and the over didn't hit, so I was pretty pissed off. I would miss out on like $200, but it is what it is.
Very valid of
Uh,
you.
Sunday, we can breathe through some of these because we were out and about Sunday afternoon. So 1 o'clock slate, we didn't watch any pretty much, but some highlights for me: the Jets got freaking humiliated. Aaron Rodgers, I think he's cooked. Lawrence, I wonder if they go to Tyrod next week.
I think they go to Tyrod, and I think Tyrod. I think that's why the Jets are more dangerous at Miami because Tyrod's gonna put up some numbers. And honestly, I think just by like, if you look at the what was it, Sauce Gardner, he was like, "Oh yeah, get him to go to the Jets." He goes, "I will not be doing that." It's like,
Oh,
oh,
but T, yeah,
he already
he
knows
does not
that his
want
team
T to.
is ass. He
Yeah,
knows. So
yeah. That's the homie looking out for the other homie. He's like, yeah, you don't want no parts of this, bro. Raiders Saints. I'm surprised the Raiders are winning. I guess AP's trying to save his job. I think there's reports he might get fired, which is crazy because a year ago they were threatening to ask for trades if they didn't hire him. So, I guess he's trying to save his job.
I think he deserves one more year because he didn't have a chance for a quarterback this year.
Yeah, no, I agree. If you give him a competent quarterback, I think AP does a good job. I'm not saying he's gonna go to the playoffs, but he might get you 7-9. He'll make you somewhat entertaining.
He'll put you in the hunt.
Yeah. Colts Giants, like I said, Giants won this game surprisingly. I you'd think they would want the number one pick, but that's kind of out the window. Drew Lock played well. Joe Flacco did not. Malik Neighbors, 1,000 yards on the season, so shout out to him. 2 tubs. Uh, yeah,
Yeah,
them boys.
for
Oh, go
me,
ahead.
like I didn't watch any of the 1 o'clock games. I have barely done any of my research for the 1 o'clock games. And
Mm,
honestly, looking back at all the 1 o'clock games, none of them seem very exciting in the slightest to want to even
yeah,
have
they were all bad.
to go back to looking at them. I mean, the Packers and Vikings game. at the end became a lot closer than it actually was. I
Hmm.
thought Packers all day, and they never got going until the game didn't really matter anymore, and they were so far behind, and still almost found
Yeah,
a way to come back.
yeah. Jordan Love did not play well. Sam Darnold did, because they could never run the ball to save their life. So he put the team on his back for real. Um, and then the last game last night, I'm sure everyone watched Commanders Falcons. I thought it was a great game. Shout out Jaden Daniels, he played well. But shout out Penix. I mean, his second start. Um, and part of this I'll blame on the coaching staff. Bijan was cooking first half, and then they kind of went away from the run. I don't know why. Maybe they try to boost Penix stats and make him see, oh, maybe he's a better prospect than Jaden Daniels. I thought that was the wrong call. Should have kept on running the ball. Um, but shout out to Penix for leading the game-winning drive, and Kyle Pitts for actually making a game-saving play. So shout out to both of them. I think honestly, Lawrence, if they had two shots, right? They had the kicker who the field goal was short. But honestly, I think if you give Penix the ball first, I think the Falcons win because he was cooking in the fourth quarter. I mean, he was cooking. I think this was just whoever got the ball in overtime first was going to win. I think either team would have won if, given the circumstances leading up to the overtime.
I agree to the extent that both those defenses were bad, and I don't even want to say both those defenses were bad. Up front, both of them seem aight. Like neither one of them were horrible, but they are aight.
Yeah.
Secondarily, the whole Falcons secondary is ass besides Terrell. Terrell is super good, super good. He did a great job on McLaren all night. Um, but
Jesse Bates, don't talk about my man Jesse Bates. He played well, but Zach Ertz was just catching everything.
yeah, well, sorry, Bates got caught a few times on
He
Earth.
did.
And also, no offense, but and this might be rubbed the wrong way, but Jalen Daniels just kept running and running all over them like the whole game, right?
Yeah.
There was two moments where Jesse Bates had Jalen Daniels dead to rights at the sideline. He could hit him. He could hit him. He had full
And
well ability to hit him.
with the arm tackles.
Yeah, but he just pushes him with his arms, like he touches him. I'm like, why are you doing that? Hit him.
Yeah.
He's disrespecting your defense.
That's uncharacteristic. He's a pretty sure tackler. And you can also credit the Falcons all the defensive players for taking bad angles on Jaden. I mean, there's a couple times if you take the right angle, you're gonna get Jaden before he takes off running because he's not fast. He's just it's once Jaden gets going is when you're not gonna catch him after that. But if you can get him before that, you got him. So they took a lot of bad angles. And like you said, the arm tackling that's what cost him this one.
Yeah,
And getting away from the run. I feel like if they just run the ball second half, I don't think this is a game, to be honest.
yeah, in a way, because they really did start. They did really just move off of it, but I think the Redskins started the Commanders really focused in on shutting down the run to make Penix one dimensional. And I think they thought they were going to do something about it, but Mike Davis is just one of those guys who's going to get exploited left and right.
Yeah, great game. Good thing they flexed it to the Sunday night slot because it was a great game. Didn't disappoint.
Remember how everyone
Uh,
was up in arms that the Falcons were being flexed until Sunday night?
yeah, I don't even know why. I thought it was a great a move considering the rest of the games they had in the week. I don't think they would have wanted any of the other 1 o'clock games flexing to that slot because you saw how that turned out. So they did the best what they could do. Week 18, we got no more Thursday night games, so we're going straight to Saturday. Uh, First game, we don't need to talk about this too much. Cleveland at Baltimore. I think Baltimore's locked in as a 3 seed. So they're just going to beat the brakes off the Cleveland Browns. DTR did not play well. I think I saw some stat where like DTR is like the worst starting quarterback uh this season. I think he has like one touchdown and like 9 picks or something like that. I don't know if that's true, but
Oh,
yeah, he's not very good. So I expect Baltimore to beat the brakes off of them. Mm, and then what we got here? Next up we got the second game on Saturday, Cincinnati at Pittsburgh. Like I said earlier, Pittsburgh doesn't have anything to play for. I expect him to rest some people. Probably not everyone. He probably rest TJ. 'Cause isn't TJ kind of banged up? Probably rest TJ. Um, you can see here some of the people on the injury report, like Joey Porter Jr. and whoever this guy is. So you will see probably the people that need a little extra, another week of rest. Will probably sit this one out. The game was close last time. Um, we're in. I think we're in Pittsburgh, so. But the Bengals have a lot to play for. Playoffs chances still there, so I expect them to win. I'm taking the 1.5. Honestly, I'll probably boost that to like 3, because I think this they'll probably win by a field goal at least. But I honestly feel like this won't even be close because the Steelers, like I said, they had nothing to play for. They'll probably want to keep it somewhat close, not get embarrassed at home. But I don't think this is gonna be too much of a game. What about you, Lawrence?
I'm definitely agreeing with you. I think Pittsburgh doesn't even attempt to come out in this game. I think, like we talked about earlier, they have a lot of fundamental problems with their team, and honestly, giving them a break, recouping is probably the best answer. Also,
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, not sorry, but Russell Wilson hasn't looked good. If Fields is able to play, let's see what he can do for a whole game again, and maybe that's the jump start to the offense, and maybe you have something going into the preseason. Because right now you got nothing.
Yeah, it's looking like getting out the first round is pretty slim for them, just based off of their play the past couple weeks. I think Joe and Jamar are going to show out. I think Joe's going to go for 5,000. I mean, he's only what 360, about 360 away, so I think he's going to go for it. I think Chase is probably going to go. At the very least, probably pit the Triple Crown out of reach. I know Scary Terry's the closest touchdown wise. I think he has 12, and then Jay Jettis is close in yards and catches. So, or no, he's close in yards, and I think Brock Bowers is close in catches. So I think they'll probably get Jamar like 10 or 12 catches, and probably get him like a $150, so nobody can even sniff close to him winning Triple Crown, which is pretty historic. He'll be like what, the 4th or 5th guy to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
The
so
fourth
I
guy.
think, yeah, so I think they'll try and get some big numbers. Sunday. What do you got for your first game for Sunday? Now, the rest of the games are going to be on Sunday. No Monday night football after tonight, so we got a full slate going into Sunday, January 5th.
Um, well, first and foremost, I'm gonna take. I'm gonna do a quick run through. I'm gonna take Atlanta to beat Carolina, Washington to beat Dallas. Um, I'm gonna take Green Bay over Chicago. They have nothing to play for. Oh no, they do. Washington and Green Bay do have something to play for. Positioning. Um,
Yep.
Houston, Tennessee. Mm, I'm gonna take Tennessee spread. Houston to win. I'm going to take. I'm going to take Jacksonville low key. I think the Indianapolis is the crumble fire going to be into that game. Buffalo. I'm just going to skip that one. I don't know if Buffalo even plays. New England might try everything not to get their coach fired, but also
Yeah.
I don't know. Eagles. They have nothing to play for. Saints, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is going to crush the Saints and make sure they get into the playoffs. Denver, Kansas City. Un- Unfortunately, I'm gonna go Denver just because I can't see Kansas City playing their guys like second half or something.
Yeah.
Um, I'm gonna take Vegas to beat the Chargers because the Chargers are, I'm pretty sure, are locked into the fifth seed in the AFC. So I think if that is a true fact, I'm gonna lock in Chargers or the Vegas to win. Uh, I'll take the Rams beat Seattle. Now I'm honestly gonna go Jets if they start Tyrod to beat the Dolphins, and then Arizona. I'm gonna take Arizona. Man, yeah, I'm gonna take Arizona, and then give me Detroit.
Okay, Detroit. Last game of the week 18. Some quick ones for me. Yeah, I'm gonna go Washington. They beat the brakes off of Dallas. I think they still got some positioning to play for between them and Green Bay. Uh, so they're gonna want to try to avoid. Um,
Philly.
they probably want to. They probably want to avoid the who second seed is the Eagles. They probably want to avoid the Eagles first round. So if they get into the fifth seed, they would play what Tampa Bay or the Rams, whoever is the higher, whoever has the most wins. So those two are
Well,
probably gonna
no,
win their
well,
divisions.
yeah, but none of them are gonna play the Rams. They're not the Rams. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay's locked into the Lions and Vikings loser.
Okay.
So the
So
Rams are gonna play whoever comes in the fifth seed, or yeah, yeah, the fifth seed. Which, if I'm anyone, I'm 100% playing the Rams. So I think Washington's gonna go out there and beat the hell out of the Cowboys just for that ability. Because I know they beat the Eagles, but like I don't want to play the Eagles.
oh hell no, they would lose to the Eagles. Now, like I said, they get that fifth spot. Well, no, they'll get the sixth spot, right? Because the seventh spot would be whoever if Green Bay. The sixth spot's between Green Bay and Washington, right?
Yeah, and if Washington wins, then they have control. They get the sixth seed.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, they want that matchup. That's more favorable for them. So yeah, they're gonna be the hell of the Cowboys. Uh, yeah, Green Bay still has something to play for. So yeah, I don't know if I take 8.5 after what I saw last night. I'd maybe just take the money line for the Green Bay game. Houston, Tennessee, I'm not touching that. That's a shit show. Jacksonville and Indy. I feel like if you want some boost, if you want some juice, then maybe you go Jacksonville in this one. They had nothing to play for, but Brian Thomas Jr. has been cooking. Um, so maybe against the Colts defense, he'll have a big game, make them win. Colts, yeah, they're dumps of fire. You think Joe Flacco would play better than AR, and then he doesn't. So I don't even know what to make of the Colts. They're kind of just burning. Uh, yeah, Buffalo probably pulls the Chiefs that don't play their starters. If they do, maybe it's just for the first half. Uh, Saquon's going for the record in this game, so the Eagles are going to beat the brakes off the Giants. Um, I don't know if Saquon gets it in the first half. Do you think? They probably press him to get it in the first half. And then they'll probably rest their starters second half. Don't you think? So I don't know. Maybe not beat the brakes off of them. Maybe the Giants. Maybe they want to. I don't know. Redeem themselves.
I don't. I think the Giants get the break speed off them.
Mm, fair enough. Where am I at? Oh, New Orleans, Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay. I think they still need a dub to solidify this, right? So they probably have to go out and play.
They need a
Uh,
dub, or they need Carolina to beat Atlanta. But it's a lot easier to expect to beat the Saints.
yeah. Uh, Kansas City. I don't know. Honestly, I know the line's at 9.5. Part of me is telling me that I think Kansas City is more likely going to rest their offensive guys. I think if the defensive guys are still out there, this is probably a closer one. So this honestly, betting wise, I'd probably stay away from this one
Who's the
because I
Chiefs'
think the
backup
defensive player
quarterback?
Carson Wentz,
Oh yeah,
walk it to him. He was killing bears in Alaska last year. Now he's back up from Mahomes.
good game.
Um, Yeah, so I think the defensive players will play at least some of them. So I don't know. It might be closer than what people think. So that's probably a game I stay away from. Uh, Chargers Vegas. I think Vegas fights for AP's job. Vegas probably takes this one, so I'm gonna ride with you. Rams. I got Rams over Seattle because they're playing in LA. Uh, I need to go New York. I need the Jets to win, so going there. Uh, Cardinals, 49ers are falling apart. Cardinals got this one, hopefully. They're at home. And we got Minnesota, Detroit. This is for the number one seed, I believe, right, Lawrence?
Yes, it is.
Um, I think
Regardless of
we're
regardless of
playing
what
in
happens
Ford
tonight,
Field.
too.
So whoever wins is the number one seed. Whoever loses is the fifth seed. Uh, Honestly, this is a pick me for me, Lawrence. I mean, they both have been playing well. Detroit, their defense has not been as good since they lost pretty much half their starters. They added Teddy Bridgewater, came out of retirement after he led his high school team to state championship. Um, yeah, I mean, something tells me after watching the past week of football, I think the Vikings might sneak this one in Michigan. I think they might sneak this one. I don't know how you feel.
Um, I'm kind of in disagreement. I think the Vikings have gotten away with a lot of things this season, and I also believe the same way about the Lions to an extent. But the Lions have beaten teams that they most definitely shouldn't be beating. Um, that's how I kind of view it. Like Vikings should not have been as good, and even in the other games, there will be times where you're looking at it and you say to yourself, "Well, they're not really that good." But
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm really having a hard time putting my finger on it. But like the Lions have come out and won games that they were the favorite, like the Titans game, where they won 56 to like 13 or something. Like they pummeled people. The Vikings live very narrowly, walking a tightrope constantly.
yeah, this is true. I think this honestly comes down to if they can run the ball against the Lions, which I think they can, but they pit it all on Sam Donald. I think he'll sell. But if there's a good mesh of hey, we're gonna run the ball, then we're gonna throw the ball, and Jay Jettis gets hot, cooking their defense and stuff like that, I feel like they have a shot to upset in Michigan. So I'm gonna go Vikings. I'm gonna go Vikings. I got a feeling on this one. Yeah, that's week 18. So after that, playoffs. So playoffs in 2 weeks. Um, Pretty exciting stuff. Wild card around 2 weeks from now. So, uh, football is almost done. Hate to say it, but football is almost done. At least NFL. We got UFL a couple weeks, or I guess a couple months actually because it's March. CFP round two. We got one game tomorrow, Lawrence. Penn State, Boise State, 7:30 ESPN. Who you got in this one? I think the spread is 11. Penn State minus 11.
So for me, I'm taking Boise and the over.
Oh,
Boise 11.5 and the over. And then as a side bet, I'm taking Boise straight up.
wow. Why you feel so confident in Boise? Is it
It, it
Penn State's frauds? They're
it
frauds.
it's always because Penn State always loses in the most important game. Penn State doesn't win those games. Like that's just what they've been known for. Well, that's why
Mm-hmm.
they can't ever beat Ohio State. That's why whenever they have to go against Michigan, they lose. They just can't win the big one, which they've said that if they expand the college football playoffs, Penn State's gonna be one of those teams that immediately benefits from it, but then doesn't benefit from it. And I completely see that right here. Like
Yeah, I think.
they won enough to get to that point.
Mhm.
But like if we look back, Boise State consistently beat people all season. You can always have a week where you don't play to your highest capabilities, and they stayed within 3 points against the number one team in the country and the consistent number one team in the country for multiple weeks.
Yeah. I agree with you to an extent. I think the plus 11, I feel like, is very, very generous for Boise State. Like you said, they played really well versus Oregon a couple weeks ago. Only lost by what, 3? So that gives me a lot of hope. I might actually do that side bet too because that's pretty juicy. 3 plus 340. You might make yourself a good chunk of change even if you put like $10 on it, and then you probably throw like 20 or 30 on the plus 11. You might come out tomorrow night with some good chunk of change heading into the new year. I like that. Uh, New Year's Eve, we get the first game. New Year's Peach Bowl. We got Texas, Arizona State. Who do you have in this one?
This one as well. So I think it's gonna be a complete like a 180 from week like the first week of the playoffs, where all the games are kind
Mm.
of blowouts. I think for the most part everyone stays close. And again, I would take so for this one I would take Texas. I would take the under Texas to win. We're gonna go 3.5, but Arizona State to cover their full spread.
Okay. Yeah, I'm feeling Texas in this one. I feel like they just got too much firepower for Arizona State, but I feel like it won't be a blowout because they play teams pretty well. And I think they're Big 12, right? So I feel like they play teams pretty well. I don't think they'll bend over like what was it, Indiana? That
Yeah,
won't happen in this one.
they're not bending over like that. Then Texas beat up Clemson, but in my opinion, Clemson hung tough. It was just clear that they were not as good of a
They didn't have
team.
enough. They had enough guys. Yeah, they didn't have enough talent. That's all that was. Next up, the 5 o'clock game rematch, Ohio State, Oregon. The first game, Will Howard made that stupid mistake. Didn't get he didn't snap the ball in time. Didn't spike it in time. So hopefully they don't make that same mistake twice. Who do you got in this one?
I'm gonna take Oregon again. I think Ohio State is just like Penn State, except they're the older brother who gets to beat up on Penn State. I
Mm-hmm.
think this is another one where they're gonna fumble the bag, kind of like the rest of the Big Ten teams.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's gonna happen,
Oregon was
but
just so good. I don't think Ohio State's the one to do it to Oregon.
yeah, I part of me knows that Ohio State's gonna fumble the bag again, but I can't see it being as egregious as it was last time. I mean, that was just really bad clock management. I mean, they honestly had a chance to win that one. I'm gonna give them another chance. I'm gonna go Buckeyes. You know, the school I almost went to many years ago. I'm gonna go Buckeyes in this one, Lawrence. Hopefully, it doesn't come down to relying on Will Howard. Hopefully, I'm banking on Oregon having to make the game-winning drive, and somehow they screw up. So I'm gonna go Buckeyes in this one. Then we got the last game of the night: Notre Dame, Georgia, Sugar Bowl. Who do you have in this one?
Notre Dame, Georgia. I mean, it's kind of disrespectful at this point, seeing what they've done, not to take Notre Dame. I think, I think Georgia has been exploitable for the last couple of weeks, and honestly, Georgia just had Texas's number. But outside in other games, Georgia's look like they can easily be beaten. And there's
Yeah,
nothing about Georgia that tells me, oh, Notre Dame's just gonna go quietly into the night. And honestly, if a team has a chance to make an upset, I think they will. And let's face it, it's not like week one where were 0 upsets, and every underdog got murdered. Both of us are feeling Boise as a, you know, not a make a wish bet, but them to win is not far out there. But if we were really realistically to say one underdog takes it, because that's what normally there should be around one of them to take it. Give me Notre Dame.
Yeah, fair enough. Honestly, Georgia's been getting by the skin of their teeth. Like, you got the 8 overtime game versus Georgia Tech, and you got the following week the SEC championship that goes to overtime with Texas. You said they have Texas's number, which is true. They haven't played in 3 weeks almost. So, and no Carson Beck, it's not adding up for Georgia. It's not looking good for them. So I think in this case, it's smart to go Notre Dame. If you're feeling a little shaky about that, maybe buy up in their spread. Maybe take plus 3.5. Maybe get that for under. If you can get that for under 200, minus 200, then yeah, I would go with that. But something, yeah, it's not looking good for Georgia. Now they could just prove us wrong and come out and do their thing. But I mean, 2 close games back to back. You haven't played in a while. That's just not bode. That doesn't bode well, in my opinion. So I'm right there with you. I'm taking Notre Dame in this one. Then that's it for the second round. The third round semifinals will be the following week, so we'll cover that next week. There was a trade in the NBA. Last thing for me, the Lakers trade D'Lo and some other kid for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. I like the trade. Shout out Bron, happy birthday! Turns 40 today. Said he could play another 4 to 5 years. I don't know about all that, but yeah, D'Lo, Maxwell Lewis, 3 seconds to the Nets for Dorian Finney-Smith and Shake Milton. I think it's a great pickup. I know they're not done. They still need some more pieces. Honestly, another scorer, another defender would be good for them. But for the meantime, if they can find a way for Dorian Finney-Smith to start Lawrence, because they need the defense in the starting unit. Vando, I don't even know when the hell he's going to play. He was supposed to be that guy. I guess in the meantime, Dorian Finney-Smith is going to be that guy. And then you got Shake Milton in the second unit with Gabe Vincent. Maybe he'll teach him how to shoot some threes every once in a while. Does this put them back in the contender group? I don't think so. I think right now they're kind of on the outside looking in of the contender group. They still have 3 first to trade. Now, if they use those to get De'Aaron Fox or maybe go out and get Kuz or see if BI wants to come back, one of those guys, then we're talking contenders. But for right now, it's a solid pickup. I give it a B. What about you, Lawrence?
I like the trade for Dorian Finney-Smith because that is the kind of player that if you watch LeBron play, like you just kind of tell, like yeah, like that's a dude that LeBron loves to play with. LeBron loves a good hustle guy. Probably because he doesn't talk back a lot in the locker room. We'll just call it like that, maybe throw something out there. But a guy is just gonna go out there, do his job, and at the end of the day, you're not gonna be wondering, what the hell did he do all game? I I kind of watched it as it happened of what he did all game. So
Yeah, I think solid, reliable vet. Played well for the Mavs. Played well when the Nets had a team worth watching. So I think he'll fit right in. JJ said that he's not going to start for now. That doesn't mean he won't start in the future, but for right now, he's pretty content with the starting lineup of Braun, AD, Reeves, Ruri, and I guess Max Christie has been starting. So shout out to Max Christie. He got paid, so he deserves a chance to start. Now D'Lo's gone. You gotta get some consistent point guard play. You gotta get it from someone. So, yeah, I like it. And then Mike Brown. We kind of talked about this yesterday while we were out. What the hell is going on with the Kings, man? Like, why are you firing Mike Brown? You just extended him a couple months ago. I don't think their bad start is anything to do with him. You take away his defensive guy in Barnes, and then you go out and get DeMar, and you expect what? Like, come on now. What are your thoughts?
Poor ownership is what it really boils down to.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't, I don't believe that you can ever think you're going to get anything different if you keep doing the same mistakes. They don't allow anyone to develop the talent they bring in, so it just leaves. And then we overpay for players who are flashy offensive, but then there's no defensive side of the ball ever covered. And so you either outscore or get beat. And consistently, you're probably going to get beat because you can't outscore every single team every given night.
Yeah. He was coach of the year, I think, 2 years ago. Took him to the playoffs for the first time in I think 15 or 16 seasons. They were lighting the beam every night. They went 7 games to Golden State, so give them credit for that. I mean, they didn't just make it to the playoffs and then just get bent over. Like, no, they put up a fight. So, like you said, bad ownership. The guy who owns the team just makes questionable decisions. I'm sure he signs off on some of those questionable decisions, and then he regrets it, and then he tries to make it better, but in reality he's making it worse. So, uh, a lot of people stood up for him. Mike Malone stood up for him. Mike Malone got fired by the same guy, and now look at Mike Malone. He's an NBA champ. So, yeah, the guy's an idiot. That's all I wanted to cover, Lawrence. Anything else you want to hit before we head on out?
Nope, I'm diving straight into this Monday Night Football game.
Same here. All right. Well, we'll wrap this one up. NTL Sports episode 136. We will see you next week. Happy New Year's. Be safe, enjoy the holidays, and enjoy all the football games. And we will see you next week. Peace.
Peace out.